Hey, it's Jag, and if I'm gonna mess anything up, it'll be today. I'll say, let's do this.
Yeah.
Well, today I'm back to working on the actual guitars. I've had enough of making templates for a while. Those templates worked out perfectly, and now I want to use them. So I'm going to start working on the necks today. So when I filmed my my initial video for this series, I went through the lumber that I had here in the shop and came up with several options for what I would use for necks. The two that really stood out for me were this one with the maple on either side and the ash down the middle. I really like the look of that one, and even at the time I said that would be the neck if I decided to make one, which I have. That will probably go on the Mutt, which is the one I'm considering my official GGBO guitar. The Butch that I'm building is kind of the practice one, although if things keep going well, it won't really be a practice guitar either. I decided that this piece of flame maple that I had would look great on Butch, so that's what I'm going to do. This bigger blank is for the Mutt, and for Butch Jr., this piece of flame maple. But before I get started on that, I didn't have time during this last week to sand down that little repair I did on the chip up here. So I'm going to do that first really quick. I'll time-lapse through that and then show you the result when it's done. And then we'll get on to what we're doing with the neck blanks. This repair I need to do is actually small enough. I wondered whether, I debated whether I should do that repair on my sander or whether I should do it by hand, and I really think that it's probably going to work out best if I just do it by hand. There's not a lot here, and I wouldn't want to sand too far. So we'll get that done. Hopefully it won't take too long, and then we'll get on to the necks. So I think I'm getting much better at knowing how to quit when I'm ahead, and I've got this so it looks good. At this point, feeling around it, it doesn't feel like there's anything that needs to be sanded any further, and it's looking really good. I have just one little high spot here where some of the super glue, some of the CA glue drip down, and there we go. Easy as that. It's fixed up. So as I was saying, I think I have learned how to recognize when I should quit because I'm ahead. Here's the repair right there. Get that as close as I can, and it looks really good. You can tell there's the glue there. It's a little bit cloudy at the side here, but it's matching to the original template really well. So I'm really happy with that, and we're done with that. It's on to neck blanks now. The first thing I need to do is thickness these close to the final thickness that I need for the neck blank, of course, less the fingerboard. So as I'm patterning this after one of my absolute favorite necks, the neck from the Beast, I'm copying the measurements from this as closely as I can. As I said before, the thing that's nice about Fender style necks is the headstock and the heel are straight on an even plane. And that's the way I'm going to build this neck. I'm not bothering with a scarf joint or an angled headstock. I'm also not going to angle the neck and the body. At least I'm not planning to right now. I may do that. One of the modifications I did to the original Butch was I did have the neck set back a degree or two. and it did feel better. So I may do that on these, but I haven't decided that 100% yet. At any rate, what I was saying was because the headstock and the heel, the back of them are on an even plane, it makes it a lot easier for me to copy this neck, and it's a little less work for me to do than if I had an angled headstock. And being that these are the first necks I've ever built, I want this as easy as possible. I measured the heel of this neck from the bottom of the fingerboard to the bottom of the heel, and it's 13/16 thick. So that's the finished dimension I'm going for. So I will be taking both of these blanks down to a little bit more than 13/16, assuming that I'm going to be doing some final sanding and things. At the end of the day, if it's still a little thick or a little thinner than that original neck, I just adjust the depth of the neck pocket to get the string action that I need. So I don't think there's too critical an issue there as long as I'm close. Both of these blanks are actually thicker than I need. This one actually was intended to be a blank, so it's about an inch and 3/16 thick. So I need to take off 5/16, maybe 3/8 of an inch, somewhere in that range, off this one. This blank is kind of a beast. It's very thick. It's I measured it. It's 1.5 inches thick, and this actually wasn't ever intended to be a neck. This was at one point I was thinking about building a lap steel, and I just was kind of eyeballing everything and got this glued together, and it turned out that this was a little too short for the scale length I wanted for a lap steel, and I wasn't really too into a lap steel at that time anyway. It's one of those things I'd like to have, but I'm not dying to have. So this, as I said, has sat around in my garage for about 6 or 7 years, and it's absolutely stable. It's dead flat. I checked with my winding sticks, both of these. They are flat, and both sides are coplanar. They're totally parallel on each side, flat, no twists. So I'm pretty happy using these as neck blanks. And as I said, this one was never intended to be a neck blank, and I wouldn't use this if I had not oriented the grain right, but just by chance when I did it, the grain is oriented correctly. So the maple sides, the grain is vertical, which is the way I would have wanted it. The ash in the middle, the grain goes horizontal, but it gives me this really interesting figuring, which will be the back of the neck. I really like the look of that, and being that this has been so stable, I'm not really worried about how much wood movement there will be. I know it won't twist. I don't think I'm going to have too many issues with that, so I'm taking this neck for, this will actually be for the mutt. Like I say, I'm going to thickness these right now, both of them. I'll take them down to just over 13/16 and make sure they're still flat and both sides are parallel just before I get to that final dimension. But when I start working on the neck blanks, I'm actually going to work on the one for the mutt first, even though the mutt is my official, the one I want to get exactly right. The reason is this neck blank that's going to go on butch is just barely wide enough for my template to fit on, and I may have some issues with that. And at the moment, I'm debating about maybe splitting this down the middle and putting some walnut, or I have some walnut, so putting a strip of walnut down the middle, or maybe a piece of oak. I'm not really thrilled with oak in guitars. I just don't like the look of oak for that kind of thing. I have some, I think, babinga and some, I don't remember right now what's up there, but I have several fingerboard blanks that I actually could cut and use as a strip in the middle of this too. So I'm going to sleep on that for a bit. I may actually end up making a laminated neck out of this one too, although I really like the idea of just keeping this as a one-piece solid maple neck. The template does just fit on there, and I just wouldn't have a lot of room for sanding on the edges here. You can see that it fits well, and just up at the end of the headstock, it's right at the edge here and right at the edge here. So again, I may not I may just work with this blank the way it is. I suppose it wouldn't be the end of the world if I had to sort of sand the sides maybe of the tip and this this edge here in a little bit. Although I'm really happy with the way everything looks here, so I would be hoping not to do that. Anyway, I'm going to work on that neck blank after I get this one sorted out, the truss rod channel, etc., etc. But for right now, we're going to thickness both of these down to just over 13/16 of an inch. All right, well that went quite well. I had a little bit of chip out on both of these, very, very minor. So I just took a light skimming pass and that took care of that. And I'm a little over 13/16 thick right now, maybe a 64th of an inch over that. The planer did a really good job. Everything's nice and smooth. I shouldn't have to do much sanding on these. As I said, this maple one, I'm going to set it aside. Man, I don't know if you can see that, but there's some really, really nice flame on there. I just want to check and see. Yeah, I think that one's going to probably work without having to split it. So at the moment, that's my decision. I'm still going to set it aside, though. I'm going to start working on the one for the mutt. I've got my winding sticks on here. I did check with my calipers, my digital calipers, all the way around. In particular, made sure to check the corners and then in the middle on both of these. And they're 0.82, 0.83 inches. So a little bit over 13/16, which is, I believe, 0.8125 or something. So I've got a little wiggle room there, not much, and that's good. Like I say, I've got my winding sticks on there. Hopefully I've got the angle of the camera so that you can see it. By my eyesight here, it's bang on parallel. And the other one was like that too. So I'm happy with this. Like I say, both of these have been sitting in my garage for quite a few years now. I don't think they're going to move. So that one will be sitting aside probably for at least a week anyway. This one, I'm hoping to get the truss rod channel routed into it today, and then I'll let this one sit for a week too. I have spent some time looking at the way the grain goes and looking at what looks the nicest as far as this this piece of ash, and the grain, the figuring, the way it comes out looks best here. So that's going to be the back of the neck, because of course this side will be covered by the fingerboard. Also, I need to cut these ends that are sticking out off now. That's not intended to be a tenon. That's just from when I originally glued this together. So I'm going to cut this end square. The sides are square, and everything is lined up perfectly square in here, but it's a little wider. This piece of maple is a little wider than this side. So that's okay. Once I cut the neck down, everything will be equal on either side. Of course, going by the center line on my neck template. I will route the truss rod channel before I do anything else on here. And it doesn't really matter which side I run the router on, as long as I hit that, that center line. I'm going to measure and mark the center line, and then get set up to router that channel. At the top of this video, I said if I was going to mess anything up, this would be the video I do it, and he agreed with me. The thing that I am most concerned about getting messed up is the truss rod channel. I have a double action truss rod. I'm ready to set it in here, and as I say, I've never built a neck before, so I'm going to do it now. This is the thing that as long as this goes right, I'm confident I can get everything else right. So I'm going to get set up to route the channel for the truss rod. The first thing I need to do is draw in my nut line and also a line for where the back of the nut is. And I want to have the adjustment for the truss rod basically end right at the back of where the nut is. And then, of course, I'll drill out an access hole for the Allen key for it. From the measurements I took the other day, I know that from the end of my heel to my nut line should be 470 millimeters. That should be it right there. And the nut is approximately 1/8 of an inch thick, so I'll mark that in as well. And so that means I want my truss rod adjustment to end right there. That's actually looking pretty good to me. Okay, that's looking good enough to me. So I want my truss rod to end right here at the top, and at the bottom I want it right there. So now what I need to do is figure out how deep I want to go with the truss rod and how thick it is. So I'm going to take the thickness in millimeters. It's just a little easier to read off of here. And we have 5.4 millimeters. The blocks at the end are 5.5, 5.6, about 5.5 millimeters wide on the blocks, and 5.3 millimeters wide here. The depth of it, I'm going to go with the depth of the block. The truss rod itself may be not quite as deep. That's 10.7 millimeters. And the block is 11.1. I'll go 11 millimeters deep. If I need to finesse it a little bit, I will. And of course, when I put the truss rod in, I will be doing the little round or rolled over tape to keep it from rattling. Let's see what I've got for router bits. So I have a 1/4 inch 2-flute router bit, and I'm just looking at StewMac's recommendations for this this truss rod. And it's looking like 2.18 inches, so a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go with this, and if this isn't fitting in quite snug enough on the sides, I will put a little tape or something around the block to have it sit snug. In terms of the depth, it says same as I measured, 11.1 millimeters. So that's about 0.437 inches. So of course, I will take multiple passes to get to that depth. So I'm not really too sure what I feel is the better way to route this in. I know I can use my my plunge router with a guide on it and run it along the edge here and do the channel. or I can put it on the router table, set it in, and just draw stop lines so I know where to stop with the routing. I think that's the route that I'm going to go. I think the table, knowing me, I'll be more stable on the table where I can keep the board flat against the table, as opposed to using my router, which I might wobble. Okay, well, I'm ready to do this. First time ever doing a truss rod channel. I need to carry some marks around. Okay, forgot to carry my heel and nut lines around, so I've done that now. And what I've done is I've set up the table saw, the rip fence for my table saw, so that I can use it to run this channel parallel. And I've put a little piece of tape above where the board is going to go through, showing where each side of the router bit is. So I know that I need to drop in on this side of that bit, and then I need to stop just as I'm getting up to the mark on this side up here. So I'm all set up, ready to do that. Going to take a very shallow pass and then check it out. And if all goes well, I'll just keep taking passes till I get the depth I need. For my first try, I think that went really, really well. The truss rod is flush with the face. It came out exactly the length that I want. I've got to chisel this round here and here. The only thing I'm not too sure about is it's not as snug in there as I would have liked. It looks like I've got maybe... That wouldn't even be that's not even a 64th. It's a very small space. Yeah, it looks like it might be about a 64th of an inch. I don't know how tight that, is really recommended to be. But I think I will probably do something to just snug that in there a little bit more. So not quite as snug as I would have liked, but I'm considering it a success. I really think that that's... going to work okay. I think there are many options to make that a little more snug in there. But what I'm most happy with is it did go straight down the dead center. It stops at both ends where I wanted it to stop. The depth is right, so overall I couldn't be happier with how well this went. That's all the time I have for today. So in keeping with what seems to be my current tradition of leaving just the last little bit of a job to show in the next video, I will chisel out these ends, make sure the truss rod sits down where I want it, and do that shimming if I think I need it at the start of the next video. So, like always, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, share the video. I appreciate all the support I've been getting. It's just been amazing the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've had quite a few more subscribers, more comments, positive comments. I really appreciate it. Like always, the links to my band One Soul Thrust are in the description below. Please check us out, and we'd really appreciate some views over on our channel. And like always, until the next video, we'll see you.